Not a bad effort. So the one a few of you guys requested is the B side of Cash. So we're going to be looking at how SK hold this. It's often Cold and Felps who hold this position here. And yeah, that's about it. We'll look at a few ways to play it. You can play in checkers, obviously, also on site. But for this first clip here, we're going to look at getting B main control. So as you can see here, Ricky gets himself into the sunroom area. And SK decided to go for a bit of B main control with a simple smoke and molly from Cold. So you see he smokes off the back of B, and then he mollies left hand side. This forces Ricky out to the right or out to the left. So if he tries to go to the left, out of towards the smoke, Felps was in a good position to kill him, but because he moved to the right there, Cold was in a perfect position to get him. Alright guys, so pretty common, you end up with one guy in sunroom control, or say you just want control of this area. This obviously works best with two players. I'll just show the nades Cold throws quickly, so you just come to this corner, so this beam here, you aim at the top of it, that's going to go smoke, and then you're going to come here, so he's going to move, and you're just going to aim at this. You're going to be in this doorway, move out, just aim at the bottom of that, and that's going to fly in. The important thing about this molly is it covers this back corner, forcing the player, this one even almost got the whole box, but you see what I mean, move out this way, or out this way. Of course you could move here, but then you're going to know where the player is. As you see, this smoke lands here, so no teammates can interfere from an angle like this, none of the T's teammates. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. He's just doing it as the smokes fade, so obviously you've thrown Felps through the standard smoke from up there, which lands here, and then Cold, we'll just pretend it's fading. As it's fading, he'll be able to see there. Molly comes in, he's out here for the left-hand side, so but back obviously, and then Felps was actually out pretty wide about here, trusting his teammate because obviously Ricky can't stop to shoot him. Also, the good thing about the smoke is, say a teammate does try to jump through here, Felps is obviously pre-aiming this angle. It gives him time because of the way smokes work in this game, which I presume most of you know. Another way, say a player is almost every round in your match or your matchmaking game or whatever likes to come here and play these yellow barrels, as I've seen a lot of players do. You can boost up here. Obviously it's not always the best idea. You need to be cautious of the team's buy and if they're respecting this smoke you're throwing, but obviously I should place a bot here, but I'm too lazy. Obviously you can see back to a decent spot. It's to about here, you can see. So if a player's here or back, you can pick him off. So obviously if he's playing the barrels like this, you're going to quite easily see him. And that's about it for B main control and getting sunroom control. I'm going to move on now to something else. So here's a setup I really like with Cold and Felps. You have Cold AWPing the B main area, as you see a lot of players do. Then you've got Felps close. So say they flash off Cold and decide they want to push him relatively fast. They're probably not going to be expecting Felps in this position here. And you see he's playing anti-flash. Cold gets a kill, playing the angle I just showed before. Then he falls back to this angle. And he decides to take the peek. Could potentially be risky, but works out well in this situation. So I'm just going to speed it up here. As you see, he's just going to hold this angle. Eventually someone's going to peek him. Gets another kill quite easily. Felps is still in this position here. So the whole round, Cold finally gets smoked off. Good job by the T's. Then Felps is here. 45 seconds left in the round. He's still at a close position, which would be a big pain to the T's. Decides to deploy a smoke and then fall back a little bit to this position. With the AWP in play, they're probably not going to expect him here. Pops out, gets another kill. And you see there, I mean, again, pretty self-explanatory. It's just the double player there. So if they do push fast, Felps is in position to catch him off. And you see he does catch him off. They're not expecting the player close, as they know the AWPs move back to site. Okay, so this round here is just going to show Cold and Felps playing on the B site. They kind of fall back there. You see initially, Cold does come to checkers here. You see he times this flash well. It's about the 43-second mark. It's a good time to throw that. You see he thought there was a high chance them probably pushing with the cross smoke down, and they drop off to site. They know they probably don't have the best utility here. Site can be a problem if the T side molly it all out. So you see Cold throws a flash, so does Felps. They just come peeking around, and they just do a good job of creating a lot of double peaks here. Works it okay, playing two on site in this situation. Sometimes it can be a bit of a problem with the two Molotovs on the side if you're on the back box and then on the default box. You can get caught out there. Okay, so what I was talking about there, if you don't know, is basically anywhere behind this very detailed line I've made here. So anywhere on that side can be Molotoved off. from the sunroom area, basically leaving, if you're playing 2 guys on site, you basically have this orange's position as your only cover. Yes, headshot is also mollied off quite easily. So this can be quite risky playing the setup they had here, as Cold would have been mollied off, but Felps' position would have been okay. This is just something you need to consider. Obviously, if you're versing a team, this is much more likely than if you're versing, just playing in your matchmaking game, there's probably not going to be that much coordination. But the thing you see here is Cold throws a flash, can't remember exactly, just bounces one off. Pretty standard. Good flashes that Felps plays from this position is you aim at this corner here. He actually ends up underarming it. I'm not sure if it was a misclick. That flash does work quite well. You'll see if anyone's coming out or they're going to get flashed. Same throw, but left click, I see. Bounces off the skybox and comes down. You'll see this is pretty good. Anyone entering site like this, it's going to just pop into their vision. Similar for this position, it's just going to come down. Side for the left-hand throw. And they just do a very good job of peeking together. You'll see they're obviously communicating well. Felps peeks out here, just peeks that entrance. And you'll see at the same time, Cold does the exact same peek. He's not overextending to here while Felps is crossfiring there, because then he can get shot with a good peek. They're communicating quite well, and then they both swing out wider, and then you see Cold moves to here, and they're both swinging out and stuff like this. And it's just good communication. Obviously, this can be hard in your MM, but again, with a team, or if you just got one mate with your own B site, you can communicate quite well and do stuff like that, and that applies for all sites, not just B, obviously. So you can play on site. That spot you can play as checkers. Again, Molotovs can be an issue. Most of you know common mollies you can throw from out there is molly here, there, and here. And they're probably the most common ones you'll see Molotovs of. So this position here can be quite good. You can jiggle in and out. Obviously, you could get pop flashed. Quite good pop flashes lined about here. But you can play like this. And often a good strategy is to boost a player into vent. So you'll see, a good way to do it, because obviously people will hear it, is you can run past. And if you hadn't forgotten, like me, you can come out and break the vent through there with your gun or whatever. So quite a good strategy here is to smoke it off, boost one player into vent, and you have him playing this kind of position here. You can jiggle back, play this position, then play here. And then you have the one guy either back checkers, if you think they won't Molotov you out, or you can just play this kind of position here. And something you can do with this teammate is just lock down the checkers position. Normally, players will come into checkers if you're on the T side, but one thing, say they don't, say on the really rare chance they all just run it here onto site. If you have full checkers control, you're going to be retaking this site very easily, because they've got nowhere to go after plant. You've got your utility, you can nade, molly, whatever, and you're just going to pick them off. So it's not a huge deal. They'll get the plant, obviously, most likely, but besides that, they're not going to win the round. So crossfires here with the guy up in vent and stuff can work really well. So that's another way to lock down the B site. Obviously, you can play retake B. Debatable how well that works. Some people can make it work quite well. And that's about it for playing the B site as a duo with two of you there. So I'm going to show that clip I showed right at the beginning again, and I'm going to talk about ways you can solo the B site depending on what utility and stuff you have left. Okay, so obviously SK had a man advantage, but this is half speed, just so I have more time to talk. But you see Cold jumps down with them relatively close. I guess he's probably concerned they've possibly hurt him. So you'll see, if you remember, he goes pretty aggressive here and peeks out. But this is what you have to do when you're at a man advantage and soloing the site, in a way. So when he has little utility like he does, just one molly, you see he peeks out, and he does a very good job of finding the angles. And you see he knows where they have to be. Peeks out here. And I like how he just holds this. He knows there's not enough time for him to run to the other position, so he knows he can hold that angle for a little bit. So this is one example of how you can solo a site. You can get really aggressive and in their face and just try and catch him off guard, which is what Cold does here in a real weird position to be playing by yourself, to be honest, because you think, if you're a T, you're thinking he's not going to be there because he's got no possibility to get a kill and fall back or into some cover. So this spot here is a very aggressive spot to play. You'll see he peeks out, gets a second, gets the first kill, wraps around, and then gets second. Obviously, there's a huge possibility when he peeks out here. I think it's Cajun B. If he peeked out here, then this round would have been over. But obviously, there's just the risk involved. There's risk in everything you do in this game. But Cold gets away with it. So he does this, and I like this spot here. So you might be thinking, oh, why didn't he play here, or why didn't he play there, or even back here? And the reason I think it is, and one of the good reasons is, if you're here, you get this first kill. One, you can get peeked from two angles. It's easy for the other team to double peek you. but you've only got one spot to move to if you want to make the next play. And you'll see Cold is constantly making the plays here. And the good thing about this angle is he gets the first kill, and he has two options. Is he going to come back around this way, like he didn't kill the vent guy, or is he going to kill this guy and then come back this way? He has his two options, whereas in all these other spots, he only has one position to go. This one, he can go out this way if he has time. Same with back there, he can only swing out this way. Obviously, he could have gone B main. Probably more likely to check that, and they're more likely to get onto site. That's why I like this spot here. And a spot like this is good with little utility. If you have little utility and you're soloing a site, especially in a man disadvantage, you have to take the fight to them and try and catch them off guard. Now, let's say you do have utility. I couldn't find it, but there's a very good clip, I think, of Glaive killing 4 people or something from site. Let's say you have all the utility I have now, maybe negative a nade or something. And you know, you peek out, maybe kill one, you know the teaser coming, there's still a 3-on-1. You can use your utility to slow them down. So obviously you can chuck a smoke here or a smoke here, and it just stops them. In this situation, it will allow Taco to rotate in if he'd played it like this with more utility. With one Molotov, it's kind of hard. I mean, one thing he could have done is, if you want to play this Molotov there, stop him coming up this avenue, and then you can try and peek like this or something. But say you have a lot of, say you have a Molotov, a flash, and a smoke, sorry. So you can do something like this. They're less likely to be able to come up here. That's annoying. You can then Molotov here, and you're delaying the tease a whole lot here. You can throw a flash off your own, whatever. There's a whole lot of options using your utility. Obviously, you don't have all day. If you've spotted them here, you maybe have 2-3 seconds if they're coming fast to get at your utility. Maybe something like that, you might not have time for the flash. Then you can take the fight to them. Peek up, that's probably a bit risky, but you could do something like that, and then you can take the fight to them and just use your utility, as I said, to get the player to rotate in. And here you are playing the more fallback delay kind of game, as opposed to how Cold plays this. So on the, what do you call it, on the B side of Cash, I really like playing around this box. It's kind of like new box on Inferno. You can peek both ways. Be really annoying about it. Chuck a flash, peek again. This box also works really well. They're the two ways I'd say to solo it. Obviously you can try and, if you think they're going to come from B main, you have mid control. Try and take the first fight, something like this. It's going to be, and then you have time to jump up onto site and you're behind here. Stuff like that I'd say soloing. Obviously you can solo it with the AWP. Everyone knows how to do that though. You just kind of pick an angle here and try and pick them off and then fall back to site. And yeah guys, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Any feedback as usual, let me know if anything's bad, anything's good. And hopefully videos will pick up again. I went overseas, so that's the reason there hasn't been many. Yeah guys, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Just remember, don't touch electrical wires or you'll get zapped.